Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Anik Haiman bin Nofizal. My number matrix is 01DKM21F1058. In this video, I want to tell about the vector in mathematics. Vector in mathematics, a quantity that has both magnitude and direction, but not position. Examples of such quantities that are velocity and acceleration. In their modern form, vector appeared late in the 19th century when Josiah Willard Gibbs and Oliver Heaviside of the United States and Britain respectively independently developed vector analysis to express the new laws of electromagnetics discovered by the Scottish physicist James Clerk Maxwell. Since that time, vectors have become essentially in physics, mechanics, and other science to describe force mathematically. Vectors may be visualized as directed line segments whose lengths are their magnitudes. Since only the magnitude and direction of a vector matter, and directed segment may be replaced by one of the same length and direction, but beginning at another point, such as the origin of coordinate system. Vectors are usually indicated by a boldface letter, such as V. A vector's magnitude or length is indicated by V, or V, which represents a one-dimensional quantity, such as an ordinary number. Known as a scalar, multiplying a vector by a scalar change the vector length, but not its direction, except the multiplying by a negative number will reverse the direction of the vector's arrow. For example, multiplying a vector by 1 per 2 will result in a vector half as long in the same direction, while multiplying a vector by 2 will result in vector twice as long but pointed in the opposite direction. Two vectors can be added or subtracted. For example, to add or subtract vectors V and W graphically, move each to the origin and complete the parallelogram formed by the two vectors V plus W in the one diagonal vector of the parallelogram and V subtract W in the other diagonal vector.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Ikmal Harid Hisham bin Muhammad Isham. My matric number is 01DKM21F1057. A vector. Two vectors are the same if they have the same magnitude and direction. This means that if we take a vector and translate it to a new position without rotating it, then the vector we obtain at the end of this process is the same vector we had in the beginning. We denote vectors using boldface as in A or B, especially when writing by hand where one cannot easily write in boldface. People will sometimes denote vectors using arrow A, arrow S in A or B, or they use other markings. We won't need to use arrow here. We denote the magnitude of the vectors A by A. When we want to refer to a number and stress that is not a vector, We call the number a scalar. We will denote scalars with italics as in A or B.
Application of vector. Look at this question. This is an example of application of vector. Example is FA equal 4i plus 3j, FB equal 6i plus bj. So what is the angle between the two vectors? The solution is FA FB equal magnitude FA magnitude FB cos theta equal square root 4 square plus 3 square square root 6 square plus 8 square cos theta. So we get 48 equal 15 cos theta, and then theta equal shift cos 48 per 15, and we get 16.26 degrees.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mio Ahmad Irsyad bin Mio Azli. My metric number is 01DKM21F1059. Conclusion of vector. 1. Vector are usually first introduced as objects having magnitude and direction. For example, translation, displacement, velocity, force. Vector defined this way are called free vector. Number 2. Vector have many real-life applications, including situations involving force or velocity. For example, consider the force acting on a boat crossing a river. The boat's motor generates a force in one direction, and the current of the river generates a force in another direction. Both forces are vector. Knowledge of vector is important because many quantities used in physics are vector. Mathematical operation scalar or vector. Number 5. Using the vector product to find a vector perpendicular to two given vectors. One of the common applications of the vector product is to finding a vector which is perpendicular to two given vectors. The two vectors should be non-zero and must not be parallel.